So I also made the tried and true mistake of let me do every piece on the blog.
Yes, we love it.
Yeah, huge fan. You know how great that was when I showed up to like Ito and Gabe Garcia got to watch me string toe to bars together as in twos. Yeah.
Bro, I do the blog though.
Bruh, like figure it out.
This is a moment. This is an important moment. This is a huge shout out to the people following Misfit Athletics. The amount of scores that are being input to the Hatchet leaderboard on SugarWOD in the app is through the roof right now. It's probably a multiple of like 3 or 4 of MFT.
Yes.
So while we're always like, people aren't following the right version, it's like really taking hold and people are like going all in on Hatchet for phase 1.
Yes.
And I could not be happier.
Yes.
Like I think people are going to see some serious results and have a true ramp from where they are now to MFT by doing that. So shout out to everybody following Hatchet right now. Good morning, Misfits. You are tuning into another episode of the Misfit Podcast. Full goon squad in the house. We have a special guest.
Special goon.
He has, he's got one name like Cher or Kobe.
Definitely Cher. More Cher. Definitely more Cher.
I had another one, but it felt inappropriate, so
Prince?
we'll save that for off air. No, that's not inappropriate. Xander, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Drew. Appreciate you. Hey, boys. Thank you guys for having me.
What's up?
So we're going to grease this baby up in 2 ways. And not
Politically correct and we're not greasing people up.
Oh, here we
the
go.
podcast, the
episode you were thinking about now.
The episode in 2 ways. First way, we're gonna do a grip test, and as the reigning champion of the grip test, I get to go last.
I hope it just
So Xander is up first, then Sherb, then the guy who just couldn't keep his shit together in the last time.
It's all about focus. Come on now.
It's all set up. You
Okay, so I
just squeeze it as hard as you can.
Real fast.
And hold it for as long as I can, or just squeeze?
No, just
hold it.
Put it in one hand,
for like a
and
couple
this
seconds.
arm is not allowed to touch anything.
Okay.
Free floating, and everything you got.
Oh, that crack.
God.
You can let go.
148.8?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty
Bad.
soft.
Is that okay? Good.
That's pretty soft.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
my
I was
level.
like, I'm pretty sure this is bad.
Yeah.
Like I watched
You
the
were
last
too cool
episode.
about it, though. You literally go.
Yeah. What do we got? Grab.
156.4.
Oh my goodness, he's revved up.
What have you boys been doing?
Talk about greasing this up.
You guys got a bucket of
bowl.
basmati rice.
Yeah,
and
how'd you know?
Yeah, sure.
I sit at the living room
laying on his
table.
bed at night. He's just got his hand down in the bucket.
He's
like,
just watching like what's the boxing movie?
I would address what's happening here, but this is a kid's show, so we'll just leave it at the rice.
Unbelievable.
You say unbelievable?
I'm
married. Grow up.
Are you unbelievable?
That's why this thing's fucked. No, not 25. Fuck.
Put the game genie on.
34. Start.
2x grip points.
Come back.
His elbow's touching the chair.
Gotta come back.
Ooh, that crack. 70s?
168.8.
That's pretty good.
Would have been better if you rounded up.
I'm going to lose to Sherb today. This is upsetting.
Should have been.
56.8. Or
No.
58.6. Fuck, I already forgot.
I don't think I've ever gotten 60, have I?
I don't think you have. I think only he and Cody have.
Maybe.
No, it fucking slipped out of my hand and Drew got his.
But I had a good day, though. Hold on. Hold on.
You just
I
ate
had
a
a
bowl of
great.
popcorn
I
and
think I
just
had
was
my
like,
best day, and
just
you had
don't-
your worst day.
Yeah.
I went.
Well, I think it just
158.6. No
slipped.
pressure.
I don't know about that day.
158.6.
Watch that elbow, guy. Watch that fucking elbow. Ow.
No, it's not good. 52.6. Well, I didn't come in last.
What a
Lost to Sherb.
I don't like that. Not a huge fan of that.
home.
God damn it.
We gotta give a shout out to Sherb. That's like an 80-point PR.
Yeah, dog, been
I just
meditating.
watched Grandma's Boy, and that like
Go on down over
perfectly
there,
just
jeez.
made my day.
Yeah.
All right.
Doesn't hold up, by the way.
So my reign as grip champion has come to an end.
You gonna ask me about it? Are we gonna interview me?
Hunter, tell us about how you feel.
The second way we're gonna grease Xander up is
Guy.
we're
Are
gonna.
we using ghee or baby oil?
How's your training going? What are you guys doing right now?
Yeah.
What are you up to?
So right now I am training for, it's called Hyrox. It's an obstacle course race. Been doing that. So got introduced into it about a week before I ran my first marathon, 2 weeks before the pandemic started. So
Over a year and a half ago,
yeah,
right?
a year and a half ago,
The
like 18
marathon
months.
was 2 weeks before the pandemic.
Pandemic, yeah. Like I ran the Cowtown Marathon in Fort Worth, Texas. And Chandler Smith was coming to town, who I'm good friends with. And Chandler was like, hey, man, would you like to come do this race? Never heard of it. Nobody had at the time. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, pretty sure this isn't going to go well. I just show up and smash it, get invited to a world championship that ends up getting canceled because,
Humble brag.
yeah, hashtag the vid.
Bro, he didn't even brag about his marathon time. What his splits were. Wait till you hear what his splits were in that marathon.
I ran a 3:32 marathon the first time.
I don't know what that means.
It's
I'll tell you.
8:11 pace for like 26 miles at 210 pounds.
He told us that yesterday. We were going for our
pretty
Sunday
good.
miles, and I was just like, what? Like,
I have ran a mile faster than 8:11, so I don't know.
once in your life, I
I
have.
don't know if we're throwing numbers out there, but
No brags, but like it's fun. So I've just been training with that. So Gabe's been
I want you to
awesome.
tell the people what this consists of
Yeah,
because
is it like a Spartan race?
he
Is it
told
like
me
a-
what it consisted of and then said you would love it. And I want to hear, I want you to
Defense
really
argument.
listen.
Yeah.
The listeners, I want you to listen to
So
what
I'm
he's
going
saying.
to say this at the beginning that I'm a really good salesperson. So you're always going to love it.
Right.
So Hyrox is 8 1-kilometer laps of running. So you run a 1K
Yeah,
and then
we're-
you go into a station.
We're good so far.
Yes,
Okay,
would
doing
love
great.
that.
Yeah. Apparently nobody wants to do this, as I told a bunch of people on Saturday about this, and like no one was enthused. So then it goes into a 1-kilometer ski, back to running, and then it's a 385-pound sled push for 100 meters,
Interested in that
and
part.
then 275-pound
100
sled
meters?
pull, like 2014 games with Froning versus
hand over
Graham.
hand?
The hand over hand in a small box, whole thing. And then it's the worst part of the whole thing. Station 4 is 80 meters of burpee broad jumps. I have never hated something so
I'm
much.
interested in that as well.
Okay. Huge fan. Then it's a 1K row.
I want to put Drew against us
Yeah.
on camera.
Lost me.
The best is like, I want you guys to come down and do doubles. I feel like you two would do a great job together.
Sure.
Yeah. And then it's, then it's 200 meters of sandbag lunging with sandbag on your back. And
You got
then
that for us, Drew.
200 meter
I like
farmer's
that.
carry, which you'd love.
Maybe.
Yep. And then it's 100
How
wall
heavy?
balls, 70 pounds each hand.
Dumbbells?
No, kettlebells.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Not the rogue ones, like the super slippery steel, like stainless steel ones.
Fair.
So, and then 100 wall balls at the end, which is the most disrespectful thing you can ever put at the end of a workout.
What is 8 by 1K run? You do
It's
8
the same
I
English.
run a
or-
one, so it's 1K ski, 1K push, 1K pull, 1K.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're running.
Got it.
You
1K
come back
between-
in and do that thing.
Yeah.
and
So
then head
you're
back out to
essentially,
run.
think of the way I describe it is think of a NASCAR lap and you run into the stations.
Yeah, so
and they're
eight,
all in
eight
the inside.
rounds of run 1K and
Yep.
then X task.
Yes.
Got it.
This really sounds like your thing, Drew. I think you should sign up now.
Yeah.
Well,
Right,
sure,
pull that phone
sure
out.
claims that he would be nice enough to me, but for me to keep up with him on the runs, I wouldn't be able to do any of the stations. So like,
Well, the best part is like you can do the running and make him do all the stations. That's how it works.
like I'm like maybe me and Pettit will do it.
Can't rush fitness. Here it is, folks.
Yeah,
you can't rush fitness.
Bless his heart.
It's a slogan. That's
That
great
is-
because when Alexis was here, she's over there like telling him how to do X, Y, and Z faster, better, and he's just like, can't rush fitness.
So how are you training right now?
notes.
So right now I am Gabe, so remote athlete to people at home that don't know. So Gabe and I have been together like
Congratulations.
thank you so much. It's
I was
almost
waiting for you to
like
say
a 4-year anniversary. So I walked into what was it, CrossFit Edo back in 2016.
Yep.
And then that following Monday I started with Gabe. Like December of 16. Took like an 18-month break just because I wanted to focus on work. And then came back because I was like kind of real burned out on the whole like regionals is canceled. Greg Glassman hates CrossFit and like that whole thing.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, you know what?
that I had forgotten.
Yeah, what's that like? I don't remember.
Yeah. Hey, never forget. And
I
so
won't,
I ended up doing a
unfortunately.
triathlon in Maine with Gabe. So me and him did that together. Then he helped me get ready for my marathon.
Yep.
And so then it was more just like me very loosely following the blog for almost a year because things I know about myself. I'm not a great coach of my own self. I'm not a great like picker of like I need somebody to tell me what to do.
Right.
And then just kind of jump back in. So I want to say we got back into everything right around February when I picked up Hyrox came back after COVID. The first one was in Dallas, qualified for US championships. So that was in Chicago at the end of June. Did well enough to qualify to go to Germany now.
When is Germany?
Germany is September 11th. So I'm going to go on a European invasion. We're going to crush everybody that's on the European side of this whole thing.
All
Make
right.
America proud.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but Europeans run very fast.
They do.
Yeah.
They're also not very strong apparently. So kilograms doesn't work for me.
Wow, I like it. Shots fired.
I like it.
What's up, Europe?
Yeah, there's like a whole lot of crazy in my brain where it's just like I'm a very nice person, but I'm now like trying to get myself into like I'm allowed to be angry and like
Be a competitor.
yeah.
Sure. So, but how do you train? So you do CrossFit,
Yeah.
but like how much of it is monostructural? How much of it is making sure that the movements that are in Hyrox are in your training? That
That's
kind
a
of
good
thing.
question. So when training, targeting my training specifically for me, there's a lot of, I want to say it's more, if I'm thinking phases 1 and 2, it's more phase 1 and 2 where we're separating everything right into monostructural pieces, but then we're building in Gabe's so instead of like it'll be back squat 1 week and then it'll just be heavy sled push the next week. And then, we're not doing a lot of clean and jerk right now because I don't think anything I just described is like
Right.
relative to clean and jerk. So it's like, we did back rack lunges or we did kettlebell carry into ski erg. We're still doing it's a lot of running. Like I will say that it is a running based race. I used to be in the camp of no, this is more of just the stations and you just end up running.
Right.
Because of my background playing lacrosse and running a lot, just learned at the US championships I was very wrong about that. So I need to started running a lot more. And then so it's still doing some CrossFit days. I would say 2 CrossFit day, real true, Misfit, following the blog,
Right.
doing those things. And then from there it's more of a 3 strength piece, monostructural piece, and then an accessory piece.
Gotcha.
It's usually warm up 3 to 4 pieces a day.
Cool.
That's usually how it is. And then target it towards, because I can control my work schedule. My Fridays, Saturdays, back half of the week is my longer training session.
Do you have a job? Because I basically am always around you. So
Yes, I have a job.
wait, do I have a job?
Yeah,
Do you have a
hold on.
job?
Do I still? I did get a paycheck on Friday, so
All right.
yeah, that helps. So yes, I do work. I work as a financial advisor for a big national financial firm. So
Cool.
Fidelity Investments, and so they're actually
With the green arrow?
the big green arrow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's awesome. I actually really enjoy.
Did you ask them if they would rebrand to the big orange arrow and then you could be the
be Avatar?
Xander's just sliding across the floor?
Was that not the other
on those
one person
commercials?
name that we dropped at the beginning of this? I now need. We're gonna guess this by the end.
Oh my god, the big orange arrow.
Jesus.
You could have him do it
One
too.
big
Yes.
Orange. Yeah, I was gonna
Yes.
I'll tag in if needed.
Yes,
I'll tag
this
in.
is gonna be great. So I do that on the side. So I have a pretty I control a lot of my schedule and the flexibility of being in the office, but also working virtually because
Right.
of everything that we're doing these days.
Do you have to go back to the office at any
Yeah,
point,
I'm
or is
actually
it?
already in the office.
Oh,
I
okay.
came back to the office in June. I had not met with a single person physically, want to say end of February of 2020 until end of June of this year.
Got
So
it.
almost 15 months. And I had got promoted and asked to move April of 2020. And that was when things in COVID world were very
Right.
we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So
Everyone thought they were
so I had to
gonna die.
move 4 hours north from DFW, which was home for me, moving a lot as a kid, and then moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I knew nobody.
Right.
So that was a huge change too.
And then you just say fuck it and travel all over the place.
Yeah, apparently I drive 10 and a half hours through the night to the CrossFit games, get to work with Ted and Chatmas and you guys, filming all the athletes, doing all those things, going to Granite games, just showing up.
I think Xander has more energy than anyone I've ever met in my entire life. And I already knew that, but then we go to the games and Xander is doing the social stuff at night. He is somehow always awake before everyone who didn't do the social stuff at night.
Yeah,
He
wow.
then works out, somehow finds a way to work out 19 times. He's running the social media stuff. He's running the Instagram stories. And you're just how is this possible? And I just I was okay, he's younger than I think he is. He's not. I don't understand. The only thing that I can think of is it's your calves.
Yeah. If you look at these, the calf monster that's going on right now,
Sure,
that shirt's just
sure.
under the table.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what
Tell
that
your
is.
story.
Yeah, but it's just me, people asked me when I was working back in Texas before I went to go being face to face. People were "Oh, do you have any pre-workout? Do you have any stuff?" I'm no, I don't need it. I'm I drink coffee black, go throughout my day, drink a bunch of water. I'll take a little bit of beta alanine every now and again, but I don't know where all my energy comes from. I just have
I'm
it.
jealous.
I'm just naturally just like gonna keep.
It's always been this way. Always been go go go.
Let me think. Kind of. Since I'm an only child, I kind of had to like be my own thing. But I've also learned in the past, like,
Do you know what your
Probably-
personality type is?
like is that
Like
the
your
INFJ
Myers-Briggs?
thingy?
Yeah.
The
Or
Myers.
like,
I took
have you ever
Myers-Briggs.
take, like,
Work
a
never gave me the
personality
answer.
test?
I know I'm like the Enneagram 8 thing.
The what?
The Enneagram is that?
Is this cryptocurrency? What are we talking about right now?
No, that's Ethereum. Bitcoin.
It's pretty common.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I've never heard
it's
of that
pretty.
one. Yeah.
My just natural, obviously very outgoing, but I've also learned from like you guys, like just showing up to camps, just meeting new people, trying to like include them in just the community that we have that to me sets all of us apart, and learning from like my best friend and big brother, which is Dex Hopkins, like just like he's very much just like fitness and fellowship, which is his big thing, where it's like just bring everybody in, love on them, see what happens, and just like learning from that, and you guys that trying to grow that space,
Right.
just like not going to try to like ostracize, or like even when I showed up, like I've learned a lot just showing up, like just going to new gyms. I'm like, I'm not somebody who's like, oh, here, I'm just here to do competitive program. Like, please, like, no, I just want to like ingratiate myself in any of the communities that I show up to and just have a good time. Like, that's just my thing. It's like going to the games and meeting, what was it? Nick and Katie and like Jenna and Sophie, seeing Alexis again, and then just meeting like other friends that I've met through Misfit over time, like Luckett and everybody that I'm super close with. It's just like, it's great just being able to have that friend group and call upon them. Like, I guess to me, it's a little bit different because I grew up as an only child and I don't have siblings. Like, and every time we moved, we kept getting farther and farther away from my parents, my dad's brother, and my mom's 3 siblings. So I don't have any cousins.
So you were used to the opposite.
Yeah. I was used to, hey, I need to go and make friends. I have moved so much that I don't have like those like I have ties to areas, but I don't have like family to back me up. Like my friends, like every single person in this room is family to me. Like Jabs, Kira, Hannah, Carol, Austin, like Brandon, Dex, Chandler, like just thinking through that, like you guys are the real family that I had, that I know, like I can, like, I know the 5 people in my phone right now that that are outside of my parents that I can call and count on. And I know I'd have them there, and they're not blood related.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny. It's like a blessing and a curse when it comes to the CrossFit community, because it's a very special place where basically anyone can talk to anyone and anyone can like find a way to find common ground. But then we get in these settings where there's a ton of people and everyone still has that sort of guarded personality of like, you'll find a lot of people that think so-and-so isn't nice or they're standoffish or whatever. And it's just 2 people in their head thinking the same thing about the same person. Yeah. And you've learned that, hey, like it does at first when you start right off the bat, have a baseline of it's awkward to like go say, hi, I'm so-and-so. Then you realize how safe it actually is within this community and how easy it is to just put yourself out there and make that connection because you find, I mean, my goodness, it's 99 out of 100. Yeah. Like when it comes to the CrossFit community of you thought this person was mean or uppity or whatever, and then you have a conversation with them. It turns out they're potentially just more shy than you are.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like anything I've learned is like in our community, especially, it's very hard to find the people that you don't get along with. Because it's like the 99 times out of 100, you are like, everyone's going to get along. It's just, we have a very tribe mentality just because of how things are set up in the community. But at the same time, it's like, I'm generally a person who I'm like, I don't really care what program you follow. I have a preference, hashtag Misfit Athletics. Right. But it's not a like, I'm going to just force my stuff upon you. Like I'm very willing to just go in, drop into a gym and like try other stuff. Like when I go, like I've gone to Iowa for training camps with like James Townsend and Mal O'Brien and Dex and like all of our friends there. And it's like, it's really cool to see how they train and how it's different. Right. Just training with Hunter McIntyre and like seeing like how he does his training, and he gets the best results, and it's so much different than ours. And like the way it's like the way it's structured to me, but at the same time, like you're still getting results because it goes back to the old, like, I think our program set up the best for me because I know everything. I feel like we know it all, but they're probably at the end of the day, there's no perfect pill, but our community is going to like think that, oh, we're Mayhem's over here, comp trainer, whomever it is. And it's like, oh, well, like we can still be friends. Like why can't we just like I don't understand why it's like the competitive like mindset of like, no, we need to be better than them. Well, don't worry about them. Hope they do well, which forces us to keep like recreating new stuff and come up with new ideas and continue to grow and expand. Like,
right. Yeah. When you have a free market and you have a place where anyone can come in, what a lot of people don't realize is that's how everybody gets better.
Yeah.
If it is just some sort of like monopoly that you have on the space, it's a pretty good chance you're not going to be challenged.
Yes.
And have the ability to make something better.
Yep.
That's there. So, I mean, for us, we know damn well that, you know, we call it words on a piece of paper. Like that is not where the stuff ends.
Yeah.
That's actually for us, because we've been doing it for so long, one of the simpler parts. It's more about like, how do you convince people to execute? How do you keep people motivated? How do you like get the community to come together? Like for us, I don't know. This actually would be a perfect question for you. Were there still a lot of comments on misfitathletics.com when you started with us?
yes, we actually had a lot of comments. So funny enough, so the way, I guess, like what you're also asking is like, oh, how'd you get introduced?
Right.
So I got introduced because one of the coaches at my original gym, so I started CrossFit back in Scranton, Pennsylvania, at CrossFit Scranton. One of the coaches was following the blog. Like, I didn't know what Misfit was in 2012, but apparently I was getting asked to do bitch work every day. Like, and I sucked at double unders. And one day it was 10 rounds of 500 meter row and 50 double unders. For a guy who couldn't string together 12, it was a dumpster fire
Took a
in
while.
45 minutes.
Yeah, dog, sign me up. I'm ready for it.
Like, it
I'll do
wasn't
right
great.
now, crush.
But so when I started on the blog, I was doing 2 days a week in 2016, right after the old tried and true stories. Like, oh, I broke up with my girlfriend to start doing CrossFit because it just wasn't working and it was long distance. And
Damn.
yeah. So yeah, but whatever. And so then it was like, oh, well, now I have all this free time. I'm also working nights 2 to 11 p.m. for work. So I now have my entire morning to dedicate to training.
Right.
So I also made the tried and true mistake of let me do every piece on the blog.
Yes, we love it.
Yeah, huge fan. You know how great that was when I showed up to like Ito and Gabe Garcia got to watch me string toe to bars together in twos. Yeah.
Bro, I do the blog though.
Bruh, like figure it out.
This is a moment. This is an important moment. This is a huge shout out to the people following Misfit Athletics. The amount of scores that are being input to the Hatchet leaderboard on SugarWOD in the app is through the roof right now. It's probably a multiple of like 3 or 4 of MFT.
Yes.
So while we're always like, people aren't following the right version, it's like really taking hold and people are like going all in on Hatchet for phase 1.
Yes.
And I could not be happier.
Yes.
Like, I think people are going to see some serious results and have a true ramp from where they are now to MFT by doing that. So shout out to everybody following Hatchet right
so
now.
I'm
It's
doing
great.
MFT, and then so that was December 7th or 6th, whatever the date was in 2016. So I sign up with Gabe as a remote athlete, and at the time he's in charge of it. He's like, "Oh, you were like serious and like just responded." Like, I paid real quick and like the whole thing, and we started on Monday, and it was like, nope, and we scaled that back real quick into Hatchet essentially.
Right.
I think this was even before we started calling it
we
Hatchet.
did.
Yeah.
We
didn't have Hatchet.
we had the garage gym program. I don't remember if
Hatchet
that
didn't show up till
was
17.
Yeah.
Like the official title.
That
of
was
Hatchet.
almost like anywhere, almost.
Yeah, it was,
Right.
meant, it
It's
was
been a
meant to
lot
be
of things.
Yeah, it was meant to be something you could do at your house, like without all of the things that you needed. Yeah, that was the idea behind the garage programming.
Yeah, I was a skinny kid with a buzz cut and braces, essentially. Real questionable, like fashion sense.
Fucking
It's a good look.
loser.
Is your fashion sense not questionable now?
No, it's phenomenal.
Okay.
The fact I have sleeves on the t-shirt right now is actually frustrating to me. But,
It's upsetting?
yeah, it's whatever.
All right.
I have a huge tattoo sleeve now. My mom hates it.
I gotta make you pause again. This motherfucker over here. The reason I think of it is because he was wearing a tie-dye Metallica t-shirt?
Yes.
He got into the CrossFit Games after party by saying, "Hello, I'm Drew Crandall."
That's not exactly how I feel like I told it to you that way, but that's not how I
Who
felt.
posed as Sherb? Didn't somebody pose as Sherb?
Sam.
Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, Sam was me.
Yeah, that happened.
That
Just had
happened.
that party coaching, you know.
I had a great hat.
Wait. Did the person who let you in, like, were they just
Do
like?
I look anything like him?
No. But
Knew the name.
Did
The check-in.
they know who Do they know who like Drew and Sherb
No,
are?
no,
Was it
like,
just like
because
here's
what I
the
did,
name,
like the check-in was the name. They're like,
they're
who's
just like, oh
what's
fuck,
the athlete
that
you're with?
sounds
And I-
like somebody
and I-
who might be important.
So
like,
here's
we'll
what
let 'em in.
happened. Here is in my eyes what happened. So we get there, just like no idea what's going on. Caroline and Kenzie are like waiting for an Uber to go home, and it's like me and Sam.
So you were trying to use coaches' names.
No, they were like, who are you here with? I'm like, Kenzie Riley is how I remember it happened. And then I guess they assumed I was the coach, which also was not the case because I was just a photographer and I had no business being there and had a great time. So when I don't get in next year, this is why.
I get there and Hannah walks over to me and she goes, "You're never gonna guess how Xander got in."
Oh god damn
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, that happened. It was worth it.
And he was wearing acid wash jeans and a shirt that I think Metallica would
It
hate.
was. Yeah.
If Metallica saw that shirt, they would be very upset.
That's their problem. I look great. I'm a huge fan of tie-dye and it was blue and purple and I rocked it. I'll post that on the gram later.
Tag Metallica.
Let's see what happens.
Tag Kirk Hammett. They're like, you like this, bro?
Huge fan? Nah, dog?
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
All right, continue with your origin story.
Origin story, and then just start doing the blog, go to TFX, meet Chandler Smith for the first time. And this was like, he was very up and coming in 17. So at TFX, which is like the like other version of like the pre-open.
Yeah.
really know
The
how to
fittest
describe it.
experience was a very big competition before anything was sanctioned.
Yes.
So it was one of the originals, like a Wadapalooza,
Yes.
where
I just don't know how to
like a
describe it
Granite
'cause it's not
Games,
like
like
a
that sort of
sanctioned-
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
it
I
was
mean,
pre-open, like,
most
test.
people remember the old school competitions where there was like actual sponsors and payouts
Yeah.
and, vendors and all
Like
that shit.
back when,
Right.
CrossFit was still like grassroots and coming
Right.
up before things. And so just kind of started that way and just showed up to every camp, I think, until we couldn't have camps.
How many camps have you been to?
All right. So Houston, San Antonio, OG, MF, Misfit Gym.
Yep.
Then it was the next summer's camp. So that's for Fort Worth. And then I didn't go to the one when you guys did paddleboarding and that I was super jealous of because a week later I was coming in to do the triathlon.
Right. The games.
That was the very
The
last
games
camp.
prep.
Oh, games prep camp. I did games prep camp with China and Paige and Cody.
Right.
Yep. Forgot about that one.
People keep asking about training camps. So our goal for the next one is to have it be quarterfinals prep. The problem is we don't know when quarterfinals are. And are people going to travel within the window where it would be most effective? That to us is like, we're going to do Misfit Summer Camp roughly a year from now. That one's a no-brainer. But the quarterfinals prep camp makes the most sense. We could move the needle for someone qualifying in quarterfinals in a very big way over the course of a weekend, just in terms of how do you approach stuff, how do you warm up, how do we go over movement patterns of what we know is going to come up, but we have to find the exact right place for it. So that's the goal for the next training camp.
Yeah. And so that was I remember, so open prep camp 18 or was that 19?
I don't know.
Okay. It's one of them. Diana was there, who I'm also super close with. And so I remember that was a big one for me because I did a couple workouts next to Paige and got my pushed in again on that stupid chest bar snatch workout. Fuck.
That workout is so messed up.
Yes.
That workout is so messed up.
Yeah. It's disrespectful.
I've never done it.
Yeah.
It's for your health.
Yeah. So you're going to do Hyrox is what you said there.
Yes.
Okay.
He's been resting up for Hyrox.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I heard.
All right, squad, just a quick break from the action to talk about some of the show sponsors. We're going to start things off with Sharpen the Axe. You can head to sharpentheaxecode.com, use the code word Misfit or the code word Kiala to save on the new Misfit Summer Collection. If you're on the YouTubes, you can see old Sherby Dog here with the sweet Misfit.
He's
Summer.
wearing a shirt of you right
Photo.
now.
Dude, any stains on it yet? It's white.
He's
It's
got
bold.
Yeah, Sherb. That's
Stains.
Sherb has 18 of those shirts, so he can use them for the next
Tell Jen.
Yeah, for the next 18 weeks, he can wear one new one with a pasta stain on it from the week before. Empty the tank,
Rigatoni.
fill the tank, teas and tanks. We got all kinds of sweet swag. Head to sharpentheaxecode.co. I was
gov.
like, hold on, did I say .com already?
Sharpen the coax.
Sharpentheaxecode.com and use the code word Misfit or Kiala to save some money.
We are also brought to you by Pure Spectrum CBD. You can head to purespectrumcbd.com. Use the code word Misfit to save on any order. If you heard us talking about it earlier, we had a really terrible Friday workout, had some burpees, had some thrusters, made for some really sore shoulders. Took out that Black Label salve, 2,500 milligrams, rubbed on the shoulders, got a little massage. Very nice. Thanks, you wife. Appreciate it. It was very nice of you. But again, you can head to Pure Spectrum CBD.
This is a kids show.
Check out their Black Label
She's
stuff.
a nice
it is
lady.
Excellent.
We are also brought to you by the company that sculpted the calves of Xander.
And Sherb.
If you're and put those down,
Put Achilles away.
Down.
This is an
Children's show.
This is an anti-advertisement. My goodness. MisfitAthletics.com or the SugarWOD marketplace to jump into phase 1. Yes, you can jump into phase 1. TeamMisfit.com and also the SugarWOD marketplace if you would like to follow the program that we are following, the three of us. Has absolutely nothing to do with Sherb's calves.
Horrible boating accident.
But it has everything to do with his grip strength if you listen to that part earlier. So
We can't put
They're
that on
inversely
us too.
proportional.
all right, back to the show.
And so like I learned a lot from camps, like just coming in, like, I used it more as like an overtraining for me because Gabe would tell me, like, I remember I still have the text of my friend from last night where he's like, just do this, please. Like, please like,
stop.
Please don't overtrain. Please.
Yeah.
Like you have a world championship to go actually just take from everyone else. So I'm trying to actually follow that now, but like meeting Gad Boys, meeting Hilda, meeting Nate, and now I'm going to Nate's like he got married last year, but they're having the celebration because of COVID.
Yep.
Like that's in a couple weeks. Like I have my best friends from Misfit in our community than I do from athletics growing up in college. Like I am more confident in myself ever since I've started doing CrossFit, starting making more friends and all the relationships and the friends here.
I think one of the best parts of this sort of story for me is that you found, so you were sort of latched onto that idea of regionals or whatever it was at that time. And then you were in this like holding pattern of what now? And the fact that you're still with us, you're still working on a specific goal, but you sort of realize the power of the community. And you've just sort of taken just a little bit of a turn. Like you didn't take like a full left turn. You're still doing our programming. You're still working with Gabe, but now you just have something a bit more specific to go towards. That's just, I think is really important for the people that are listening to hear, because semifinals is attainable for most athletes, but it's not in the cards for everybody. There's it's sort of just a statistical thing.
Yeah.
How many slots are there? How many people are following, X program from what regions? And there's so many variables that are put into it. So the idea that you're able to stay as a part of the community and continue to work on what you're working on is it's cool. And I think people should hear that.
And it's a lot of fun because I've had people reach out to me about it where it's like, hey, I'm a remote athlete working with so-and-so coach. And it's like, hey, I'd like to do this Hyrox thing, but I don't want to throw off my training. I'm like, okay, first communicate that with your coach, please. Like it's very different when you just start with a coach than I'm now 4 years in and I'm not telling Gabe what to program for me, but I can tell him like, hey, I feel like I need this.
Right.
Because I know how, like, I remember leaving Chicago from the US championships and being like, all right, so can we add in some extra running? Because I feel like now I'm realizing this is a running race, or just trying to do things like that, which is super important to me. And then, but at the same time, just trying to like, I think I want to make a push towards quarterfinals. Like, I think I can do, like, realistically, I know myself as an athlete. Like, I'd probably need to be team if I ever wanted to even go to semifinals. I don't think I'm a games athlete. Like, it's one of those things where like I know myself and like what I'm willing to. It goes back to the very first discussion when we were in that classroom in Houston and Gabe's talking about the staircase and what your goals are and what's your measurables and what your steps are. Like, are you trying to be better in the open, or are you a Caroline Connors who's going back to the games?
Right.
Carol choosing violence Connors will go back to the games in 2022, and I will fight anybody on that hill. If you try to come at me or her or anyone in this community, I will enter your comment section, win it, and leave. So they're like, you need to know what your goals are and be very, I don't want to say realistic because I don't think that's fair to everybody, because you should have that big, as you like to say, big, hairy,
audacious goal.
Yes, big, hairy, audacious goal. And it's just like, put that out there, but you also need to have your measurables to make sure you're on the right track.
Yeah. I mean, the I wrote a musing literally like mostly last week and a little bit today. And the idea is that you typically find with people these two things that have to exist typically don't go in the same personality. And they obviously do in some people, because some people can see that big, huge thing out there, and they're also hyper diligent. But like the idea of you're like pie in the sky dreamer type, the eternal optimist who's always like, this is possible. And those people need to exist because that's where innovation comes from, or that's where progress comes from. But then your like true gritty people are typically a bit more matter of fact. So like you either need to figure out how to be both, or you need to have the people around you, because we can even translate it to training itself. If you put yourself in a box when you're training and you say, this is all I'm capable of, if you never go faster, then you never get better, then what's the point? So like, we explain it as overreaching in here, but like something as simple as going into a session of rowing intervals and choosing a split time that's 2 or 3 seconds faster or 100 calories per hour more than you would normally hold. You have to do that, or what? What are we doing here? We're going to hold 145s and everything forever, and that's all we're ever going to do.
You got that good, and then do you want to stay the same, or do you want to get better?
Yeah. So like how do you get better?
It's like when right before this, I was running 400 meter repeats every 4 minutes for an hour. Thank you so much, coach. That was
sign me up.
Yeah. So that was just ideal. But it was like things I've learned. I'm like, cool, I need to make my very last run hurt real bad to know what that feels like, because on game day, I'm going to have to be running real fast.
Yes.
Like I ran a 118 around the gym loop, and I was very happy with that because I had run a 119 at like interval 6 of 15, which was a mistake because intervals 7, 8, 9, and 10 were like 123s and 4s, which is not good when I started at 120 and wanted to just hold that the whole time.
Right.
Like you have to like, how are you adjusting like your like last week, what was it? The ski wall ball workout. I was like, whichever one of you three jerks.
That was a real treat. I enjoyed that workout.
You son of a bitch.
How'd you do?
The
funny thing though is it's bad because I made it doable.
Yeah, it was very much like you could have in your mind broken up the 35s and the 30s and done and probably finished around the same time if you had broken at 20 or whatever.
Right.
But in my head, I was like, I get to the wall balls at the end of every Hyrox workout and it molests me. Like there's no other way to describe it. Like I've never done 20 wall balls and I'm like, I can't do anymore. Like I needed to hold on.
Hunter is not the most inappropriate person on this podcast. He's relishing it over there.
Fucking dying over here.
This is like, I'm sorry. I just know how to break out the thesaurus in my mind.
The same Hyrox?
Yeah, every work, it's always the same. It's always the same order. Like I always get to the wall balls and I'm dead. I get thrashed. My best things are the sled push, the pull, the burpee broad jumps, the ski and the row.
Got it.
Like that's the stuff.
You just list
like,
everything besides the wall balls.
Yeah, it's like literally like everything, but it's like things that crush me. It's like I need to move faster.
You have to be good at wall balls though.
That's the thing is like I'm good at wall. Like if you ask me to go do Karen right now, and I'd probably just do it unbroken. But at the end of all of the running, all of
a different story.
It's a very different like mindset. And I walked into that gym. I was like, I need to have a starting place. I need to have my ski, and I need to have the wall ball, and I need to just walk to that wall ball and do it unbroken every round.
Yeah,
I hadn't had legs feel that badly in a long, long time.
Well, that's the thing. Like we talked about it, and I think it's important too. So in this scenario, I'm the one that's holding on to the idea that I'm dreaming up this scenario for you, and it's said it in the description. These wall balls are unbroken. So whatever else you got to do, and what's great about that is you can prove to yourself or to someone else that they can do that many wall balls unbroken. But then it's all about the ski erg at that point, and I love the ski erg because it's so effort based. Like so many things that we do that localized muscle fatigue can just stop you dead in your tracks. And there's something so special to me anyways about the ski erg where it is, you'll catch yourself going a little bit slower and you don't really need to. Like sometimes you do need to rely on, more strokes per minute or pulling hard, whatever it is that's like nuanced, but there's something special to me about the ski erg.
Yes.
Where it's very effort based.
Because then it came back around for the 8-minute AMRAP of what was it? I did the hatchet version of 21 calorie ski, 9 chest bar, 12 deadlift for 5 rounds into like like max calorie ski. I got back to the ski with 3 minutes and I hit 42 calories. That's embarrassing to me. I was frustrated. Like
14 minutes, not too bad.
yeah, but like
Just throwing it out
it's
there.
real bad. Like, you know, it's bad. Like, and
Not
I was
good
not happy
neither.
about it, but I was in such a like painful place because I was like, I need to attack the chest bar and the deadlifts.
Right.
I kind of gave up on like the ski. I was like, I don't get to do a lot of deadlifting right now. Well, I've done deadlifts, but I haven't done like Metcon deadlifts or
Right.
gymnastics because it's like, I'd rather just do toe to bar because that's a real weakness in like core stuff. And then kind of see what happens. Like, I've been doing a lot of lunging. But like that workout like also is like very effort based. And I'm like, I can clean this up.
What was your time on the wall ball workout?
17:38, like nothing great. Like I needed to.
Did you get Sherb? You're 16?
Yeah, exactly.
15-11.
Yeah,
15-11?
I know him because he probably
How are you skiing?
aggressively.
Well, when it's the nice small numbers like the 10 and 15 and 20, I think I held a little over 14. Then it was quickly like 11:20, 11:50.
That sounds right.
And then the final two skis, which are a 35 and a 40, the 35 was a
Broken
little
up by what?
like, was it 15 and 10 wall balls?
Yeah.
So the last 35 cals probably went 1,200. And then in my mind, it's like, all right, the last 40, you know, you get to this number and you sprint to the end. And that went in my mind as I got to those checkpoints, it started getting pushed further and further away. So I think I sprinted like 18 of the last 40.
Yeah,
Which was
where I was.
really uncomfortable. Like I remember us talking about it in another podcast. We were talking about this exact same piece because of like the idea of personalizing a workout for
Right.
yourself. Like,
Yeah.
you know, try to immediately pick up a wall ball because I knew that was a strength. I'm sure you probably had the same experience. Like, I know that this workout, like nothing's going to get super challenging. The hard part is going back and forth and being tough on the machine.
it was-
So like wall balls for me are never a leg thing. They're always a shoulder thing. And it's just like do you want to keep like doing air squats basically? So like the challenge was the ski erg, and I feel the same way that you do about it. It's a unique machine because so much of it matters is just how hard you're willing to try, because unlike the rower where you need a little bit more skill to have a proficient stroke, I feel like you can get away with a little less efficiency on the ski erg and just kind of be tough and have a very comparable thing. Now, don't get me wrong, there's skill to it as well, but there's a little bit more of like a grittiness to it that I like. And yeah, it was a pretty disgusting piece when you have the ability to go back and forth.
It's always interesting to me which ones get talked about the most on like social media and people, you know, messaging and whatever. And it seemed like it was that one and then the burpee box jump over thruster.
Dude,
So
fuck
happy I
that
didn't have to
workout.
do that.
You didn't have to do that one?
Nah,
told
like
him
I
we were
say
running
that now,
yesterday.
and I guarantee it's going to show up sometime this week.
We were running yesterday. And I was like, man, did you gotta jump into this? And Gabe was running with us as well. So I think he probably
I knew as soon as I'm like, it's like things you don't say to your coach. I'm so happy I didn't do that, and I know it's coming. Like,
Yeah, Hunter went like full masochist and did double machine 15 calories. That looked horrendous.
That was
I
pretty
think
hard.
you served yourself up
Yeah,
something
I think it
as
was-
bad.
trade with you.
Fuck no. Yeah, I thought it would be easier than it. Well, I didn't think it would be. I knew it would suck, but I knew it would
That
just be
Echo
different.
bike is just such a different animal.
Such a great piece of equipment.
I
I'm
got
so
on
happy
the
I
machine
sold my
and I
Soul
was
Bike.
just like, just ramp it up no matter what. Just always ramp it up, and you ramp it up, and it's like
It doesn't care, though.
8 seconds go by, and I like finally open my eyes, and it's like, Juan, like, you fucking kidding me? Like,
It's a perfect example of
one
like
fucking calorie.
that machine to me, like ever since, so I had to do, what was it, every 5 minutes, 15 calories, sprint 100 meters
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember
a couple
that
weeks
workout.
ago.
Yep.
Like, and that was the first workout I did on the Echo bike after I sold mine to my boss, my assault bike. I'm so happy I sold that thing.
they're it's amazing that they're the same thing because they could not be
more different.
Exactly. Like the assault bike is an unmatched tool for power output.
Yes.
Like what that thing does to you is just, I mean, it's in my head because I was doing some phase 3 testing yesterday, and the usual, like, even though I'm in a little bit better shape right now and I've been doing the C2 bike so much, I'm able to go faster. It just ruined me even more.
Yeah.
But then you've got the Echo bike, and it's much more fitness related. So like
100%.
it does not care as much. It doesn't weigh like how big you are and how powerful you are as much. It just wants you
To work.
exactly
Like,
to
it's
work.
literally a mental piece, because in my head, the assault bike, like, you can, if I was doing 15 calories and 100, like, I could get to 12 and like glide 3 cows, because it would. That's
Right.
how the monitor works. the Echo bike is built. You stop, it stops.
Right.
You are now
A coach built that bike.
Yeah.
He didn't want you to be like, go shred any calories.
And we all,
Yeah.
like, you guys know this, like, you want the athlete working the whole time. Like, as an athlete, you want to game it a little bit. Not going to lie, like, you want to kind of get, like, an extra second or two of break so you can transition and go.
Sure.
And just watch it. But now the Echo bike, because we were talking about it on the run yesterday, I was like, Gabe's like, no, I'm thinking, like, maybe you should adjust the calories. I'm like, nope, keep it the same. Like, I don't think you should adjust the calories on an Echo bike anymore.
It all depends on the stimulus. But
That's
like,
to me,
But
but
like,
it's
you know,
like-
we were talking about this the other day too, because we had an affiliate class piece that was like toe to bar, assault bike cals, and then some heavy dumbbell snatches. And we were saying like, oh, if you're on the Echo bike or if you're on the assault bike, like how does it change? And we were saying, you know, based on both our experience on there, like if you're cruising, Echo bike's much nicer. Much gentler, lets you go further in less time, which is nice if you're doing distance. But if you're doing calories, like you gotta work so much harder.
But to me, it still ends up being the reason why you wouldn't adjust the calories, even though it takes longer, is because your power output is not as high. So it's the like argument like bodybuilders are always talking about, is it, you know, 12 by 10 or 10 by 12? And it's like, yes, they yield the same results. Yeah. So if it's the same product you're getting out at the end, then it doesn't matter as much.
Change it is if it were like, if we program like
straight up sprints,
like 3 by 50 or something like that,
And
or like
that would be
like
horrendous.
30 or 40. Yeah,
that would be
take notes.
horrendous on the Echo
Doing that
bike.
this week.
On the Echo
Gabe's getting
bike.
so
Yeah,
many good
and it's
ideas
like-
from you guys.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Listen up, Gabe.
So
notes.
we did that workout together last week, and for me, because the send pieces, I don't know how you would look at them, either amazing at them or terrible at them. There's definitely no in between. But if I were to send at the beginning, I could put together a very nice round and then
very nice.
Very nice.
literally be the worst person in the entire gym after that happens. So we did it, and I went like,
confirm.
I went like I don't know, on like an 8 maybe
Okay.
instead of a 10.
Yep.
And I was able to go negative splits throughout.
Okay.
Last round, I'm like, okay, because every single round, Hannah and Sher are done their burpees. I got like 6, 7 left. I was like, I want to get closer to them.
Yeah.
So I did 10 at like a 9, and then 11 through 15, I like turned it on. I was doing dumbbell push press. I could not put them over my head, but I was like, I have to go unbroken. This is a send piece.
Yep.
You can't be a baby. I had like 4 full rest periods. I still ended up having my fastest round. I don't know how, but like I could not put them over my head. Like my arms did not work. Like did not work at all.
But that's
Going at her
CrossFit.
pace kinda
Like that's the
sucks.
thing. It's like the mental, like you feel like you can't, but your head like wants you to put them down, but like, you know, physically it's like the same idea. Like you've now pushed yourself into like, you learned that about yourself because you're not going to quit on yourself.
Right.
Like that's the best part about like our training comparatively is like, you're going to end up learning about yourself. Like you should be able to take that information back to some other piece. Like if you're in a competition or even if you're trying to do something at work, and like I'm reading Winning by Tim Grover right now on Kindle. Don't do audiobooks. I can't pay attention at all. I have to like actually read.
The amount of times that I have to rewind in an audiobook. So I'm like, what did he say?
But I can listen to podcasts on 2 times speed. Like makes no sense. Again, like it goes back to like me just being high energy. Like I listen to all my podcasts like on 2 times.
Damn.
Yeah. Joe Rogan, 3 hours. Nope. 90 minutes.
I do.
Sorry, did I
do
speak on 2 times?
1.5.
You can upgrade. You start at like
Yeah.
1.25, 1.5, and then it just goes right to 2. You'll upgrade soon. But it's
I'm
like
stressed out just
it's
thinking
like-
about someone talking that
it was
fast.
talking about like winning and just like how like if you want to be great in anything in the gym, at work, as a father, a brother, a friend, whatever it is, what like there's no real balance, and you have to go through those struggles to understand like how to succeed and to be great. And the point was like just understanding like you got to push yourself. Like Michael Jordan did the best job of carrying teammates. Like if you watch The Last Dance or read this book, like they bring up the examples of like, he was not that nice of a guy as a teammate. Like
Correct.
he was, but look at the results.
Right.
And at the same time is like, you have to find a way to motivate them. Like you can't be nice all the time. Like you have to find a way. It's like using those emotions that we try to push away and try to stray away from, like anger and jealousy and those types of things. But there's a way to communicate that in an effective manner. And that's something I've been trying to like work on recently with work and things. It's like, how do you communicate the idea of like, whatever, I don't care, which is to me a very insulting, and you're just belittling your teammate or somebody if you're trying to ask them for work or input. There is a way, like if you say I don't care and you don't like what they did when they come back, you're now making that person work twice when you could have effectively communicated differently.
Right.
And just trying to think through.
Well, I mean, the translation from like interpersonal relationships to when you're working out and what you were just referencing is like your brain lies to you all the time, and it's got its own set of goals and homeostasis and let's keep things cool here. Exactly. And you have to learn when you're able to override those things and when you're able to find out, like, that's what we see with athletes. We actually see it a lot with athletes, the further into their career that they are. Like they get like slightly uncomfortable. They don't want to take chances in workouts, and that they're positive that they're like at that place. And you can see it on them. I mean, we see it all the time in the gym. Like the physical signs are so obvious when an athlete's not doing well. They like can't control their breath. Like you can tell that their movements are all fucked up. But when you see them look like nothing's really happening, but they're panicking, like they have to learn to go back in and start over and override those things.
Yes.
Like I always say, the very first time that I realized how much my body was lying on an Airdyne, like whatever, 12 years ago, I couldn't, my mind was blown. My mind was like, absolutely, like I had to start over everything that I knew about exercising and how you can push. Yeah. Cause I like always just listened to my brain.
I had a moment like that the other day with the class workout on Friday. Right before we started that, Caroline, who had just done it like, I don't know, an hour or two beforehand, was just like, it's not going to feel any better 5 seconds after you finish your burpee box jumps. Why don't you just pick the bar up the second you get done?
Right.
And I was just like, oh, fuck. Like, I know she's right, but as you know, a little bit of a seasoned athlete in this regard, like, know how 15 burpee box jumps are going to feel, know how 15 thrusters are going to feel. And you try to tell yourself the story, like, oh yeah, in 5 seconds, I'm definitely going to feel better. But if you had gone out and done that, you would have left so much adaptation on the table. At the end of the day, you might have been able to go unbroken and be like, yes, I saw what the note said on the programming and I did it unbroken, but I left whatever 30 extra seconds on the table that I didn't need to leave there because I was scared to see what happens.
Yeah. And that's like Caroline at Granite Games when she was doing the running heavy shoulder overhead thruster workout. It was like, she crushed that. And it was like you got to adapt and know those things. It's like Hunter you were in the military, and like, I'm sure there's plenty of things that you know about yourself and like they taught you like how to push through. It's like, you got to go into the gym and adapt and grind and know that like, there's some things other people are not willing to do in the dark, in the gym, so you can show up on game day so you can effectively take your spot.
Hunter likes to do 500 burpees and then face the wall 6 inches from it and do like a marathon row in the silence.
Is that his warm-up for surfing?
Oh, was that exactly that workout? I was close, aren't I? Wasn't it like a half marathon, like bike, 500 burpees, like something silly?
Half marathon row, half marathon bike, 500 burpees. It was like,
I'd do that.
It was like,
I'm a psychopath.
It's like that's different though. Like that's not, to me, that is more like, that makes me less nervous than 4 rounds of 15 and 15.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, like,
for sure. Because
that's like people, like you can, like, I have to like remind myself of that sometime, because people like to put that like really, like, oh, Hunter was in the military, he's like really, really tough and like does hard things, and it's all relative. Like whatever the hardest thing you've ever done, is the hardest thing you've ever done.
Because for me, like, people, like, when I say this, I feel like an asshole, but it's like, no offense, like, the marathon was the hardest physical thing I've ever done in my entire life, and mental. Like, it's not even a question. And I've done like the worst blog workout we've ever done. I still to this day hold it, and I did it like was 5 rounds, 30 wall balls, 20 power snatches, 95, 10 muscle ups. That was such a dumpster fire of a workout that I still hold it in my heart in dark place. To do. And it was not great, but it's like,
but those two things are, I think it's important to separate them. The idea of you can go in, everyone needs to know that you can go in and make up your mind and do a 2-3 hour workout. You literally can do that.
Yes.
Every single person on earth can do that, but you have to actually try to do that. You have to actually one day say, no, not doing a whatever 45-minute heart rate run. I'm gonna go run 10 miles. I remember the first time I ran a 10K. I don't know that I had run anything more than a 5K before that, and probably, I don't know, 10 other miles my whole life.
Yeah.
But like when you realize what happens when you just make up your mind and like there's no other side to it. It's not even black and white. It's just what it is.
Yep.
But then there's also what you're talking about with the change of you're going to decide to go pick up the barbell or whatever it is. Those are the things you have to figure out as an athlete, when you can do that and what you can ask of yourself. We walked into the gym the other day and Brady wanted to put on a show for his final round. And that just begs, okay, so
why the fuck didn't you do that?
What is possible in these other places? And what is that? What are those tricks that your mind's playing on you? Because that shit is real, right?
100%.
Yep.
Like you did feel terrible after the burpee box jumps.
Yeah. Horrible.
But you decided to, maybe, or normally you would have the conversation with yourself of listening to that voice. But it's like you have enough experiences, enough times where you're trying to compete with somebody else, so there is an actual competition, or you saw, a score on the blog and you're like, wow, that's what this is? I thought this was a 19-minute workout. It's a 14-minute workout.
I saw it as a challenge. Where you look at the whiteboard and the way we scored it for the gym to make sure that no one could sandbag around was to say, you're going to post all 4 of your splits up there. You're going to post your first round, your second round, whatever, knowing that most people are going to see a pretty big drop off because of the metabolic demand of those 2 movements. And, it is every 6 minutes, but for a lot of people, that's 2 minutes on, 4 minutes off. It doesn't really feel like a send. It's really like more like a reach. So I looked at it as a challenge. Like, I'm going to fucking try to see how close I can be in my splits. Like, that was the only goal without a long break in between movements. And like you said, you made up your mind to go do something like that. And a lot of times you impress yourself when you put your mind to something, you can do it. It's hard to recall the reserves in your mind and that willingness to push yourself there, knowing what it's going to feel like. But at the end of the day, that's when you feel the most proud, is when you go out and you say, all right, I don't think I could do this, or I don't know if I could do that again. And you just keep showing up and going to bat. And, I did have a slow round my last round. And it's because, I had to step up my last 2 burpees and I locked out the 14 thruster and held it for a second. But
you found your threshold.
But I found threshold. So at the end of the day, I found a win. Like, I might not have had the fastest time, Brady beat me by like an hour on each round, but like same idea, like happy that I was able to get there.
For you, it's like, okay, we know burpees are not your thing.
Nah.
Never have been. But it's like, you knew like how you had to push yourself and like learning that point.
Jumps?
It's like, rude. It's like the same thing, like leaving triathlon and like coming back to doing like the blog and trying to start doing that. Like, you got to learn like, oh, you've been doing like moderate high heart rate for a long time. What's a sprint feel like again? Like that was my hardest part for like 4 or 5 months, was trying to find that coming back. Like, I had been there in the past, but I didn't know my body was like, no.
Do you get the pre-workout anxiety? Like when
Yes,
you're
when I
about to
choose,
go
like,
there?
when I know, like,
Choose
so
violence?
I've been choosing that violence.
My heart
like,
rate yesterday when I was sitting on the assault bike, like I'd been warming up for like way longer, which by the way, is like super helpful.
Might want to try it.
Yeah.
Like I C2 biked for like 15 minutes before getting on.
I kept getting
and like
notifications that Drew was working out.
And before I got on the assault bike, and my first sprint was like, my body was like, thanks for cueing us into what was about to happen here. But the second that I found the jam that I wanted, and I turned the assault bike off to like get ready to do the next one, you get your right pedal in the right spot to start ripping. My heart rate went through the fucking roof. And like I've talked about it on the podcast all the time. Like that's where the Suffer Smile logo came from, because if I was going to keep being so fucking scared of that, I was probably going to die. So I should probably learn how to like grin and go, I chose this. I'm doing this on purpose. Like I used to be such a baby about that. Like I would put it off for so long, and then I'd live in that anxious space for like 6 minutes.
Yep. That's what, like, so when I was running those running repeats just now, like, I effectively warmed up and I was like, all right, we need to put pedal to pavement and fucking go. Like there was like, and I was like,
I'm going to steal your start though. Yeah. I like how, so one of the issues that you'll see with people running repeats like that is you give away 2 or 3 seconds right at the beginning. You're fucking with your watch. Like you looked like you were shot out of a circus cannon at the beginning of all of them, but then you can reach your 120 pace and know what that feels like for as much as possible.
Because when I'm starting those runs, like it goes back to like being coached, playing lacrosse, like learning how to run those starts and be ready, like lean into it, go.
Right.
Like you don't get to just be there, but it's also like I was running those as like you start Hyrox and it's the 800, it's the running at the games. It's, was that a 400 meter like time trial for the first amount of points for the games? It's like, I knew that's how every single one of those, and I was like, go, and repeat. And you have to, and I knew like, you don't get to like, you can explain it's like, oh, I'm maximizing my entire training day. Like you can have 1 to 2 pieces in a day where like, you really like sold at your soul. Like I couldn't argue that you can like maximize all 6 pieces on the blog. Like
no chance.
Like you can't send it and just like see what happens the whole time. Like you gotta like I effectively
that's where our pacing instructions came from.
Exactly. Is like I've had to start learning. Okay, like I don't have all the time in the day to train as much as I used to. And how do I like, because I used to be like, oh, I can show up to the gym at 8:30 and like floss and like go into my warm up and like send the warm up and just win it, because that's how I was when I was younger. And now I'm 29 and I know my like calves like make my knees tight and things hurt. And it's like when I was warming up, like today's warm up was what?
Don't be blasphemous in front of Sheriff about your calves.
My knees have never hurt, if that's what anyone's wondering.
I was going to say, you ever floss your knees, see if you can loosen up your calves a little bit?
Yeah.
See if I'll try it.
Yeah. It was like 3 rounds of like run 200 meters, 10 RDLs, 5 strict pull-ups. And then like I was on the runner, like I wasn't running outside. And I was like, I've started to learn like, okay, like let's warm up in the warm up. Like 200 meters slowly, like 200 meter a little bit faster on the next one. Okay, let's send the last round and see what happens. Like the strict pull-ups, like in the last round were pretty hard, but it was like effectively learning over time how to incorporate those things into training are also very helpful.
Right.
I've been around too long.
Yeah, that same mentality though is the same reason that people as they get fitter like hit that plateau. It's because the longer you've been in it, the more you can look at a workout and be like, oh, I know that's gonna suck. So this is how I'm going to make it suck less. Yeah. And it's like, that's fine. Like there's a time and a place for that, you know, in like an open workout or something where it actually pays to be intelligent, but like there also has to be that balance. Like you have to remember how you got to the place you are now. And that's because you were an idiot when you started.
And I'm trying to like, and I had been pacing so many of my workouts lately that I'm now going back to recklessness and just being like, okay, so let's send the first 2 rounds and see what happens and figure it out. Because I've had to, Gabe gave me 5 rounds, 20 calorie ski, 15 sandbag lunges, 10 handstand push-ups for a workout. And he gave me a time cap of 10 minutes, or he told me like goal time is 10 minutes.
5 rounds?
5 rounds.
Gabe's fired.
Yeah. And it was like, and I finished in like 10:09 and I was like, this workout sucked, but I was like, I need time caps for me. Like I just had to
like to have that target.
I needed that because I also like train by myself and I always have. Like it's very hard to find a training partner that wants to go do Hyrox. Like I'm really good at selling it, but at the same time, like I know like that's not for everybody. Like it's one of those things where
you're
it's
0 for 3 in here.
Yeah, I'm really trying. I'm gunning it home.
0 for 4, I guess, if you include Ted. Although he might be interested.
It's in Boston, December 18th. Please, everybody sign up.
There you go. Is there beer?
Yes, afterwards.
What about Derek?
I don't see why not. You got to have your spectator
no one's
fans
checking
and
Camelback,
tall boys.
Yeah.
No one's checking
Let's
Camelback.
bring a 6-pack of PBRs and make it
Ted
happen.
and I crushed Sherb in a CrossFit competition. Ted was drinking in the final, so.
We weren't supposed to make the final.
No, we were not. That was an accident. Still come in first
Drew
place.
snatch 255 by hitting his ass on the ceiling first and then flying under it.
Here's a question.
I still fucking remember
Was my
that video.
power position perfect?
Yeah, that's still all right.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only man to ever strip or pull, because he has no actual strength, hit power position perfectly and then get under the bar.
I can confirm that. That's accurate. That is true.
God. And so, yeah, but Hyrox definitely, like, for a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people following the blog would do really well at it. That I would easily say. Like
Just another activity to use your fitness with.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like I'm like you don't need to show up to compete. You should show up to have a fun time and do something different.
How long is it? Probably like an hour?
It's an hour and 15 minutes for me. The average individual is between 125 to 130.
Yeah.
And then doubles, which is the partner version, so you can do male, female, or male, female.
But you both run.
You both run and you split the stations.
Right.
Let me make that very clear.
Split the run. Drew does all the stations. Got it.
Okay. Yeah. As Sherb like finds a snack on the sidelines, and orange slices. But it's a lot of fun.
I can run an 8K in an hour and 15.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. Like,
Hope
and
so.
it's one of those things where like, just like find something. It's like the hardest part about like being an athlete, period, will always be finding your mindset and building your engine. Those are usually two of the things that I feel like most people have a hardest time with.
All right. What did you learn from Xander today? What's your take home?
Oh, let's see here. I like to, because I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not great at making friends.
I don't believe you.
No, I'm not. I asked the personality question because I was like, is Xander like, because you can have people who are outgoing or friendly or kind, but be introverted. And I think I meet some of those things that I just said, not all of them, but I'm very introverted. And I was like, oh, no, Xander's definitely an extrovert by nature. And I was just like, wow, like how, like, and it's very uncomfortable for me to walk. I don't remember the last time I walked up to somebody and was like, hey, like I'm Hunter, or like, hey, I've seen you. Like, I don't know how you go about that, but if it's somebody maybe you see on Instagram or like a friend of like Misfit, but you've never actually met them in person, like that is incredibly unnatural for me to walk up to be like, and like, hey, I'm Hunter, like initiate that sort of interaction. But I think it's really cool that like basically everything you said about all the people that you've met and interacted with, and now they're people that you have in your phone, and like if you're in the area you can like text them or like hang out with them or go train with them or something like that. Like that's probably more of a reflection of me than you, but I think that's really cool, and that's something that's like, like maybe I should do better about that.
Yeah, but I would say like you could, but at the same time I'm like, if I needed questions or had questions on fitness because like more methodical things, I'm like, nope, I'm not the guy. Please ask Hunter.
Sure.
I would easily, like, something I've learned is like, what are my strengths and where are the things that I need to like defer? Like, it's not even trying to like meddle and like BS around. It's like, how can I defer certain things to like people that are easily smarter than me? Like, I was asking, like, we were just talking about zone 2 yesterday. I was like, well, I'm a runner and I probably should know what zone 2 is now, but it's like,
well, so the problem is, and I'm actually writing, I don't even know what it is. I don't know if it's an article or a weakness template or whatever, but it's called aerobic threshold training because some people call it zone 2, some people call it zone 3, some people call it maffetone. It's all these different things. And I think it's important to just be like, let's just get some names out of here and say, this is what you're doing. Are doing. This is how you warm up for it. This is how you track it. This is how you test it. This is how you do all of these things. So that's one of the reasons why you don't know, because people call it 1,000 different things.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically a few decades ago, the endurance community found out that if they didn't go run as hard as they possibly could all the time, that they actually developed their aerobic system so that they were always relying on flushing and taking in air as opposed to, switching
Struggling
over
for breath.
Exactly. So if your threshold is higher, then you can run closer to that and you can run faster.
So my takeaway is the positivity thing. I think one thing that sets you apart from most people that, come in off the street and, whether they're introverted or extroverted, is just you're always positive. And I think that is a big attribute and the reason why you so easily make friends and you so easily, put out I would say a good face on Misfit when you walk out wearing our stuff and, introduce yourself to people. But like
as me.
As Drew. But I really do think
100% don't have the hair of this guy and or the other tattoos. So
if I can make friends with anybody introducing myself as me, can I do it? Introducing myself as Drew.
I'm going to go around telling people I'm Hunter and Drew and see if they still want to talk to me.
Did it work?
Introduce him as Hunter and they just like turn around and walk away. Just punch him in the nuts.
But what I was going to get at there is like, how many times have you walked yourself into an opportunity just because you were positive and met someone new or put yourself in circumstance or, get invited to a training camp with a company you don't even technically work with, but you end up there and you learn a bunch. Like, so to me, the lesson is, put that positive energy out in the atmosphere and it'll get returned to you in experiences and lessons. And like, I think that's a unique thing that you have that a lot of people could strive for is, putting out that positive energy and having it lead to, great opportunities down the road.
Yeah, well, thank you.
I have my own, but I'll start by doing a piggyback, moon jump, trampoline, 360 gainer off of what Hunter said is there's just that mentality of, oh, it must be nice that people like to have, where it's has to do with how fit you are, or how much money you have, or how many friends you have. It's just this thing of like, oh, well, that must be nice. Like, you must have been in the perfect situation to make this happen. And whether you decide to go approach that person and to make new friends or not, accepting the fact that almost everybody in these places that we go to with the CrossFit competitions or whatever it is that's associated with it, they're pretty cool. And again, they might be shy, they might be standoffish. You're basically like projecting your personality type on other people, whatever it is. So you do get to still make the decisions of who you want to be friends with, who you want to approach, but make sure you take the responsibility onto yourself to go and do that, because your results are going to be good if you just, decide like, it'd be really cool to know that person. They are famous for knowing a bunch of stuff about this. I want to go talk to them. And there's a pretty damn good chance that they'll talk to you.
Yeah.
My other thing is just, I resonate with the Hyrox thing a ton, not because of what it actually is, but because
sign up.
I won't not do it. I'm just not going to like it or be good at it. Those are different things.
Sign me up.
But just having that thing, I'm training for this reason. I'm just not personally the type of person who can put in a ton of hours into something without knowing why I'm doing it. Like, I don't know that that there are some people that are quote unquote that way. Maybe they just think about their goals differently than I do, but I just feel like I'm wasting my time doing something that I know is not a waste of time if I don't have that thing. And like right now, one of them is just literally as simple as, I want to be able to go, if we're traveling and you guys say, let's go for a run, I want to be able to run with you guys. Like, I did the Hawaiian Trail run a few years ago, almost died, exaggerating. I want to be able to go do that with someone and not be like, see you in an hour, like that kind of thing. And I can wrap my mind around that sort of goal. So I just really resonate with you being like, I'm going to stay within the Misfit community. I want to be part of this, but I'm not going to go for this thing right now that most of the people are going for. I'm going to go for this. Like, the fact that you were able to find a new thing and to adapt and stay within the community is pretty great.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. And I appreciate what you guys built, because at the end of the day, like, this is my tribe to me. And I'm going to be like, I will be at the gates of like, somebody tries to come at us. I'm like, I'm like, once you're like on my team, like, and I tell this to people all the time, it's like,
like the big brother, nobody's gonna beat the shit out of my little brother.
Nobody's gonna take us on. Like, I refuse to let anybody talk shit. I'm like, you're like, if you're part of the community, like Drew, Hunter, Sherb, Ted, Jabs, Hannah, Brady, Carol, Austin, I don't care. Like, from top to bottom, like, you're on my team and you're one of my friends and family, and I will like lay myself down before somebody takes you out.
And this is the exact reason why we say things like, this community is not ours. Like, we're both in the community ourselves, want to be a part of it, and then also like nudging it in the right direction every once in a while. But like, it's much bigger than us sitting in a room and trying to like 1984, the situation, this is exactly how these things are supposed to be. And when we realized that, it was pretty fucking exciting that there's this like living organism that has almost nothing to do with us, even though it's like starting out as what we built.
Yeah, it's like, I know the people that I looked up to when I got here was Dex and Joe, and Corey Lunny, and let's see, Alexis, and
you should be a rapper. You got like the shout outs at the end of the song.
Names on it,
yeah,
from
just
Outkast.
like I got like, I know like the like, it's weird. It's like the Misfit history. It's like Andy May. Like, I like the
I need to keep you around so I can remember people's names.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just like, I've met these people, and it's just like, it's like, but it's important to me to like make sure.
Don't worry, it's me. I'm a fucking space cadet.
Yeah.
It's not you.
It's
I don't know your name.
Like, just got to keep the history and the Misfit, like our like squad and tribe, like keeps growing. Like, people like grow and like move on and do those things, but at the same time, they're still part of the family. Like, and I'm going to make sure like when I see them again, like you're awesome. And I want you to be part of the team.
Boom.
So
think we did it.
Yep.
We do it.
Yeah.
Well, we got to do ads.
We will. Don't you worry.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gents, thank you for tuning into another episode of the podcast. And thank you to our show sponsors. You can head to sharpentheaxeco.com and use the code word Keala, Keala. You save 10% on your order, and we donate that same 10% to the Kiala Foundation. Make sure, speaking of the Kiala Foundation, that you get signed up for the Ultimate Hawaiian Trail Run, either the virtual or in person. You can run with us. And by us, you will have two groups. You got the fit people and then the guy who almost dies on the mountain again. So sharpentheaxeco.com, use the code word Kiala, purespectrumcbd.com, use the code word Misfit to save. And we are in the throes of phase 1 right now. Everyone is doing great. So many more people on that Hatchet program. Love to see it. MisfitAthletics.com or the SugarWOD Marketplace. TeamMisfit.com or the SugarWOD Marketplace for your affiliate programming needs. And as always, I'm at Misfit Coach on Instagram. Slide into those DMs. Let me know what you want to hear next, who you would like us to have on, and we'll see you next week.